to, okay, that's okay. I almost got sick so I wouldn't have to show up. Melissa K. Range, Igniting Change. And now, actually, what's funny is I am battling a cold, but the premise of my video today is all about an experience that I had. And every time I come on to these videos, every Thursday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, I want to give you an experience of my own to inspire or motivate you to do something in your life, to make a change, to transform, to truly live. Live. This is live. And if you really want to live, you will go after the things in your life that you want and desire to create. And that's just how life goes. We're creators, we're powerful creators. So, welcome to my live. My channel is all about fear to confidence. I wonder why this little message is here. My channel is all about fear to confidence. And every week I come on to, like I said, share an experience about my own personal life. And this week I'm talking about a performance or a story that I had to give a couple weeks ago, actually 2 weeks ago today, to a group of my peers. And I haven't done this in many years, and it really pushed my edge. And that's what I want for you. I want you to push your edge and do things that cause you to grow, that cause you to expand, that actually cause you to step into places where maybe you feel that you're incapable or you're limited. And then what you do is you pass through them, you walk through them, you step into them, and you come out on the other side and emerge victorious. You emerge someone different. And I've been doing this. This is how I live my life. And what's even funny, I'm going to interject a story here about one of my children. So, my son, for spring break, we were going to go somewhere originally. And then he decided to go with some of his college buddies to El Salvador and Guatemala. And while he was gone, I thought, well, I wonder how he's getting from El Salvador to Guatemala. I didn't know because he hadn't sent me his travel itinerary. He'd only sent me his flight from Texas to El Salvador and his flight from Guatemala to Texas. So I wondered, how are these boys, there were 5 guys, we're going to get from one country to another? Well, I didn't know a lot of the story and a lot of his travel adventure until 2 days ago when my daughter and we were on spring break. We returned home and we called my son and asked him about his trip. And lo and behold, he had some really crazy experiences. And I'm glad he didn't tell me at the time what they were, but all I know is this. He is following in his mom's footsteps, and my children are all following in my footsteps of pushing their edge, pushing what they consider to be maybe a threshold of safety and walking through the anxiety of things in life in order to reach a goal, a dream, a desire, a purpose. Thank you so much. And so that's what my story is about today. So for several weeks, I think it was like 12 weeks, I signed up to be a storyteller at the National Speaker Association event. They have it every year in March, and 10 people can participate. And it's a 5-minute story. And if you go over the 5 minutes, guess what? You get disqualified. And all they had on a phone was the timer, and it was off to the right-hand side. And so we all chose a number, and I chose the number 7. Oh, we have 7 participants on my video right now. How amazing is that? And I sat in the audience with my peers and friends and family members of the participants. And mind you, I had been practicing this talk for a while. And let me step back in time for a moment. For many years, I have done theater. I have done what's called Bellarmine speech competitions when I was a little girl. I have given many, many presentations in my group called Al-Anon. I've spoken all over the place, but this was different. Have you ever been in a situation? I would love to know. Have you ever been in a situation where you were in a group of your peers and you had to give a presentation or a talk or something and you were so nervous? What happened for you? Because I know this is what happened for me. As my number became closer and closer to give my story, the thoughts in my head started to go AWOL. And I started to hear all of these negative thoughts going through my mind. Now, you all, this has not happened for me for many, many years. I have not had this many negative thoughts coming into my mind. And recently, in one of my presentations that I did for a very large group of about 100 women back in November, I was doing a keynote. Somebody asked me a question. How do you control those negative thoughts? What do you do when the negative Nelly, or we can call it the itty bitty shitty committee, is going on in your head and you don't know how to get out of that? Well, this man that was before me was giving his talk, and what I'm hearing is, you're going to blank out. You're not going to remember a word. You're going to mess up. People are going to laugh at you. I mean, this is what was going on within me. It was really crazy. And I just sat there and I breathed. I just took some really deep breaths and I tried to call in that positive voice to say, just get up there and do it. And what happens. Just get up there and show up, and whatever will happen will be. And that's what I did. When she called my name and number 7, I got up there and I just remembered the first line of my story. And I started to let it flow out of me. And the best part about it was, I started to get into the momentum and the feeling. And I was like, I don't care who's here. I don't care who's watching. I'm doing this because I want to push myself and I want to give something to the audience. I'm here to give something to the audience. Have you ever felt like that? Like, I'm doing this purpose or mission, not just for me, but to inspire somebody else, or to help change someone else's mind, or to give inspiration and motivation and make someone else realize, if I can do it, they can do it too. Because life is not all about us. It is about us to the extent that we're here to transform and change, but we're also here to inspire or to make a difference and be in service to others. So, needless to say, I was giving my talk and I didn't even recognize the little number counter to my right, because it was on a phone and I couldn't see it. And I was so immersed in the story that I just was like letting it come through me. And all of a sudden, I finished. I looked over at the timer and it said 5 minutes and 14 seconds, which means immediate disqualification. So I knew I was disqualified. I actually didn't care. I didn't care that I got disqualified, because I got up there and I poured my heart and soul into this performance, into this story. And I knew I had captivated my audience, and I knew I had done what I set out to do. And that's really all I cared about. I didn't care in that moment about winning. Even though I love to win and I've always loved to win. But as I've gotten more wise in my years and accrued a number of years in my life, I don't really care as much about winning. I more care about, how does it feel for me? And what have I done to change and transform myself? And what can I do maybe next time to do it even better, or do it differently to make a bigger impact, or just, it's for me. And so that's what I've learned. Have you ever had an experience like this? I would love to know in the comments. So I was number 7. We had 8, 9, and 10. And then they called up the winners and they took our pictures. And then after that, we were allowed to consult with the judges and kind of ask them, what did you see? What could I improve on? How could I be better? What struck you as powerful? And I had several people that are not judges come up to me and give me the nicest, kindest compliments and say, wow, your story was so powerful. Wow, I could see myself in your story. Wow, you really had a commanding presence up there, Melissa. And we forget, and that's all I heard then. I thought, okay, and I heard a couple of little tweaks that I could do besides getting under the 5-minute mark. for my story. I just heard a couple of little tweaks of things that I could change. And I learned a lot of this in Toastmasters when I did Toastmasters years ago. But what really struck me was I got up there and I did something and it made an impact on other people. And I think so often we forget the value that we provide not only to ourselves, but to others when we walk through our anxiety. And I was trained by a coach, a subconscious mind coach, who always trained us to celebrate the anxiety, to actually say, wow, this must mean that I'm here and I'm seeking to go here, or I'm here and I'm seeking to go here. And that's really what I've learned from him. And it's been deeply embedded in me to remember that every time I have something that's causing me a lot of anxiety, I have to show up and step up. And this is one of the reasons why, too, I created my women's program and why I mentored so many people over the years, is because I wanted them to get what they wanted. They wanted to get what they wanted. They wanted answers. They wanted solutions. They wanted ways to step into those places that they were scared or wanted to create a dream or desire or something different in their life. And they wanted a mentor or somebody who walks the talk to help them, guide them, hold their hand, facilitate holding them accountable. And that's what my women's program, that's why I created it, because I wanted more women to chase their dreams and desires, because it's a statistically significant fact that 50% of women don't chase their dreams and desires because of lack of money, lack of confidence, and lack of support. And that's why I created my women's program. And if you're interested in checking it out, you can go to reclaimrebuildrestore.com and you can check out my 5-module program for women that I created a while ago. And it has helped so many women transform their lives over the years. And so, continuing on my story and asking you again, what is something in your life that you want to do, that you want to achieve, or you want to have in your life, and you're so afraid to take the first step? What's the first step? So let me break it down for you about my storytelling event. My first step was, okay, I heard about the storytelling event. I knew about it over a year ago. I think I actually knew about it maybe 2 years ago. And I wanted to go, but I couldn't go because I was going on spring break with my children. And so then last year I was going to go and I couldn't go again. But so it's been implanted in my mind. What is a goal or dream or desire that's been implanted in your mind? Maybe it's a new job, a different job, taking a class. Maybe it's going on a vacation or taking a trip. Do you know how valuable that is, by the way? I was just reading an article and I know how valuable it is to travel, but maybe you want to go traveling somewhere. Maybe you want to create a different landscape in your yard. Maybe you want to move. You want to live in a different location. What is it? You have to know what it is. Then you have to investigate, collect the facts. What is it going to entail to get this thing that I want? How much time? How much energy? How much money? What is that? You got to collect facts around it. This is getting you in momentum to go after what you want. Then maybe you sign up, or maybe you start putting your resume at a new job. Maybe you start going to look at houses. Maybe you start bringing home pamphlets. Like, this is one of the places that I want to go. I want to go to Alaska. And so I've been collecting pamphlets about a trip I want to go on and talking to people. And guess what? I ran into a couple the other day and their license plate said Alaska. So what did I ask them? Oh, how long did you live in Alaska? What do you like about it? What would you recommend? So these are the things that start happening. The universe starts to conspire to help you. So then what did I do? I signed up to be a part of the storytelling competition. So I heard about the storytelling competition. I investigated what it was. Then I signed up and paid my money. And then what did I start to do? I started to practice. I wrote my talk. And actually, I helped AI write my talk a little bit because since it had to be right under 5 minutes, I decided I'm going to have AI. And you had to have specific criteria about how you were presenting it. And you couldn't use any props. And so I had AI help me refine my talk. And then what did I do? I practiced. I practiced with a timer. I practiced in front of my daughter. I practiced in front of the mirror. I practiced and I practiced and I practiced and I practiced. And this is what we have to do. If you're going to buy a new house, you don't just go look at a house online and maybe you do and buy it, unseen. You actually go to the house. Maybe you go back. Maybe you go back again. It's a big purchase. So these are things that I know that I have to do in order to go after and get what I want. So then I practiced a bunch, and then it was time to show up. And then that's when the anxiety started to build within me that week. Now, I also had a little bit of other stress going on in my life. I was getting ready to go on vacation with my daughter for her senior trip, and my son was in El Salvador and Guatemala, and I didn't know what in the heck he was doing over there. I mean, oh my gosh, the kid could have drowned. Somebody died in the ocean the day before because of the riptide. He was staying at a volcano in Guatemala. I had no idea what was going on. He took a semi truck from El Salvador to Guatemala. They had hitchhiked. I mean, this, thank God this kid didn't tell me any of this until he got home. But I had these stressors. I had to get my dog to a farm, which is an hour away, and we were going to have major storms. And he is, so these are all the things that are going on. And this is what's going to happen for you. When you start to take those steps, you're going to find that maybe there's some obstacles, barriers, challenges that will come into your periphery. Because what are they trying to do? They're trying to throw you off your game. And so the main part of what you have to do is keep focused. That is the glue that holds together what you're trying to accomplish. Focus. And I knew that I had to show up on Thursday night at the library at 5:30 p.m. to be ready for my storyteller competition. And I got to the library and I was sitting in my car thinking, I don't want to go in. I'm going to vomit. I don't want to be here. Could I just make up a lie and say that I'm going to be sick? Because I was so afraid. And like I said, I haven't experienced fear like this in a while, probably about a year and a half. And I won't even tell you what that story was about. Maybe that'll be for another video. But I got out of my car and I said, I signed up for this. I paid the money. Somebody else could have taken my slot. And I do not want to, be the person who gives up. I will not give up, even though I am terrified right now. And so I went in. I started talking to people. Now, this is something else kind of funny. I started talking to this lady who's a national speaker, and she's telling me things, and I'm not even hearing what she's saying because I'm so nerve wracked that I can't process. All I'm doing is trying to memorize my speech. I wish I could have had like blinders on, but I was trying to listen to her, and other people were saying hello, and I was just trying to stay in a space of calm and peace and not panic, even though my insides were like in turmoil, my stomach was in turmoil. And once the storytelling began, I knew that I was going to have to do my story. And so when it came time, like I said, I just got up there. And if I had blanked, I had blanked. I mean, it wasn't like I was there getting paid. It wasn't like that I was there winning $1 million. It wasn't like I was the only one who went over. So there were 5 of us who actually were disqualified out of the 10 because we all went over the time limit. So it was such a great experience for me to do this. And if I'm going to mentor people and do keynotes around fear to confidence, I have to walk the talk. I have to live what I say I do. And that's who I am because that's authenticity, that's genuineness. And so, my challenge again for you today is what is something that causes you to think, oh, I'm going to be so anxious if I try to go after that? But it's something that I really want. It's something that I know haunts me because if I don't do it, I'm going to wake up one day in my 80s or my 90s or maybe even my 70s, and I'm going to have that regret. I'm going to have that regret that says, coulda, shoulda, woulda. And did I truly live my life? Did I live my life every day? Because that's how I want to live my life. And I have been in places and in my own even immediate family where people live their lives as a warning. Don't do that. You shouldn't do that. Be afraid of that. That's scary. What if this? What if that? And I've learned that they're just going to sit in their fear for the rest of their life. And they're never going to go out and expand and transform and do the fun things that their heart calls them to do, or even the challenging things that they want to do. Because we are here to expand and to elevate ourselves, to push ourselves, to evolve. And that can come down even to the simplest of things, like having a better relationship with someone in your life, or going somewhere that you've always dreamed of going because you want to see the ocean or the mountains, or you want to see something in history. Oh, I'm noticing a bird. I got this bird watching book and I'm trying to identify birds. I interject, whatever. What's that word? I can't think of it. So I hope, this is my hope for you, and this is why I have this channel, is to come on here and inspire you to do something, change something, become something that you have always dreamed or wanted to do. Because that's how I live my life. And I know every time I get up to speak at a keynote or at one of my Al Anon meetings, people always say to me, wow, you really live, your truth. You live your life, and you really are an example of what I need to do if I want to get this or if I want to change this. And that's really what I'm here to do. That's my mission, is to inspire you and motivate you, ignite you to make changes in your life, to do something that you want to do. So, thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for listening to my story. Thanks for the subscriptions to my channel and for sharing and liking my videos and all the happy faces or whatever somebody was sending me today. I really appreciate it. It's a gorgeous day here where I am, and I hope wherever you are in the world, you're having a super fantastic day. And one more quick little thing. Your mind is really powerful. And I don't like the word mindset, because remember, I told you somebody asked me a question in one of my audiences about how do you change that? How do you shift it? Well, I would say in that moment, make sure to breathe and remind yourself, all I have to do is show up. All I have to do is show up, and then let go and surrender. And that's really how I live. And that's really what I did in that moment. I just got out of my chair and stood up in front of that audience. And I took not a minute, but I took like 30 seconds to breathe, to close my eyes, to center myself, and to thank what I call spirit to just come in and allow me to bring forth my story. So that is something so easy and so simple that if you are in a space today and you're walking through some anxiety, just take a deep breath and just allow yourself to be calm and to center yourself. And then from there, allow whatever you call it, if you call it energy, source, the creator, God, spirit, the universe, to move through you to bring forth whatever needs to come forth, then allow that to happen. So thanks for joining me today. So grateful to see you. See you next Thursday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time for another story, experience, share of my own life to inspire you, to motivate you, to help you on your journey here on earth as you go after what you want. See you soon.